Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are back on CONFAB with Priya Arya, and today I have eminent guests from across the platforms in the universities. I will introduce them one by one. I have very closely worked with them. I have known them personally. So I'll start with Dr. K.M. Subramania. He is the principal of RV College of Engineering, which is the topmost college in Bangalore, and it is on the 63rd rank in India. And he has 25 years of experience in the same college. Hello, doctor. Welcome
Hello,
aboard.
hello. Good evening, Priya.
Good evening, sir. I come next is Professor Sudhir Acharya. I share a beautiful bond with him, which started I was his teacher and he was my student, and it went on to opposite. Then he became my boss. He pulled me out from there, took me into his college, and I was working as a professor of psychology there. Uh, he is director, Impact School of Architecture. He's also the pioneer of alternative building, the rapid fire, which is not very common in India, which is only in Chennai as of now, China as of now. So yeah, so rapid wall. He's one of the pioneers in India of alternative building, and he also runs the incubation center called Hasta. His dream is to build that bridge between education and the industries ahead. Welcome on board, Professor Sudhir Acharya.
Thank you so much, madam. I'm happy to be here.
I am happy you're here too. And last but not the least, I have known Mr. Sridhar Pabisetti ever since I stepped into Bangalore from Mumbai. We met for a political campaign where he was the contestant, the candidate, and I was handling the what do you say, the campaign. I was the campaign head for the other candidate from the same party. So that is how we have got to know each other, and our political conversations. Think it is for there for the world to see what we talk. He is now the director of Geetam University, which is a school of public policy. He has been in the field of technology and public policy since over 2 decades. And of course, he's politically very active. So, welcome on board, Mr. Sridhar.
Thanks a lot, Priya, for joining on this program.
Thank you so much. So, now coming back to what we are here for, how has everybody dealt with this change post COVID? I will come to you, Dr. Subramania. How have you and your college dealt with this change, and how has it changed?
Good evening to all of you. Good evening to all my fellow panelists, and in particular Priya, who has brought all of us here on the same platform to talk about the future of education in the country. And I think it will be on a round robin phase. We keep telling our experiences. So let me start from my side that actually when COVID started, well, it was somewhere in March last week, second week and third week it started. Before that, we had almost completed 50 to 60% of our academics in the college. So then suddenly what happened is we were supposed to get adjusted to the system, and we were not knowing, at least in the March last week, it was so serious, and we were not even thinking that 2 months we may not be coming to college. So that's the way the situation was, and quickly we had to adopt. In fact, digitalization, online learning, even though we are all talking for a long time, not done at discrete points of time and with the discrete faculty and discrete courses it was done. But suddenly during the third week of March, we realized that students are not coming to college and we are supposed to quickly adapt to the environment and start teaching online. I think for doing for a whole college, because we have 7,000 students on campus and I have 370 faculty and everybody contributing in an equal way in an online. In the first week, we were a little bit, may not have conducted a lot of classes in the first week because we are getting adjusted to the system. But I think we are all quickly could adopt within 1 week. And from there onwards, still, I can say that May third week, in fact, our classes yes, somewhere during April last week and May first week itself, because we are an autonomous institution. We are 1 month ahead of the schedule as the meeting. But then we had to go on continuing. We could not do a lot of things, and we went for online. In fact, I'm very happy to inform you that by May third week, we would have almost completed our more than 6,000 online sessions for our students in the campus by covering all the syllabus. And you can always ask me, okay, you are reading newspapers and seeing that many students say online we are not understood and things of that sort. In fact, since everybody is experiencing this for the first time, we cannot expect 100% result here. But at least we have taken a feedback from the faculty as well as the student in the college. I can say that even in our college, it was 75 to 80% of the time, whatever we taught has been good, and definitely there is a scope for the 20%. Even today, I can say that it may go to December for us even to look into the 20% and make small corrections. See, starting from things like which platform to be studied, because everybody has used different kinds of platform. It could be Zoom, it could be Microsoft Teams, or it could be WebEx, all these things. But all these things are used for smaller gatherings and smaller kind of meetings. But suddenly you want everybody faculty, maybe around 150 faculty in a day, using all the kinds of platforms. So this took us some time even to decide which platform is better, where the problems are there. So I think these are the realities that we have faced in the last 1.5 2 months, and I'm very happy to inform you that finally we have come out successfully. I don't say it's the best; it's always a better one, and there's scope for improvement. And we also did online quizzes. We did, and again, we work with a partner called Quick Learn in our college since 3 years, and they provide us all the opportunity to work on the online for the quizzes and things of that sort. We were doing online quizzes in the college, but now it is remote quizzes. So we had to tweak our questions, make it random and things of that sort. We went ahead with that. Then we went to an open book test examination. We used something called exam.net to conduct even that test, which is open book test. And we are not very happy the way the tests have been conducted, because some more working has to be done in that area. But I'm very happy that we have been completed many of these portions, and now we are waiting for the government and university announce the examination dates. And I think we are at this stage as of now. In fact, I don't say it's post-COVID, we are during COVID as of now, because the lockdown, they are going to lift from 8th of June only. We don't know what's going to happen. So we are still in work in progress as far as the overall system is concerned. I think this is my experience actually in the last 2.5 months. But let me tell you, I think the faculty in the institutions, many institutions would have put a lot of effort. Teaching an online course is not like teaching in a classroom. It needs a lot of mental preparation. And many of my faculty are told that a 1 hour thing will get over only in 35 minutes in online. So that's the kind of things we have. So we are work in progress. I'm sure that we'll go with this, and a lot of future is there in this area. I think I'll stop at this point of time, and we'll proceed further after some time.
Yes, thank you, Doctor. That was quite insightful. I'll come to Professor Sudhir. This changeover he has, Dr. Subramaniam has given quite an insight. But I want to know your personal experience with your teachers, people management. How did you manage the teachers? How did you manage the students? How did you manage the parents? Most important, how did you manage people during this change?
Yeah. So first of all, I was very happy because the situation was created to upgrade our teachers. Okay, most of them were so reluctant to learn the digital one. So now it has forcibly made them to upgrade themselves. Okay. So now
Can I add something here?
yeah.
He has a little bit to everybody about about Professor Sudhir. He has been forcing technology onto people's head, into their system ever since that I know him. He was always for this change, and this has been given onto his platter to bring about the change now, because now there's no other. It's an unavoidable circumstance.
Yeah, I was really happy because we have prepared for unpredicted time actually. So past from 2 years, we used to give a tab to the students. So everybody used to question me, why you want to give a tab? Why they will play a game, or what is that? Subji or PUBG, or what is it? People used to play a game, PUBG. Yes. So why you want to give a tab? I said no. See, there are good things are also. So why can't you consider that? So 2 years we have given students as a tab and a pencil. So we have forced them to do certain things on a digital platform. So instead of buying a paper, we told them, okay, go and draw it in your tab. So we don't want any printouts. So as much time you want to correct it, you correct it and send the drawings to the teacher and all. Because architecture is a different platform. It is not only a typing. You need to draw certain things. You need to explain with some kind of a sketches and all. So this has made me to prepare for this kind of a COVID situation. So I was very happy to force them. Okay, now you don't have to go out, you don't have to buy anything, because students are saying, "Sir, I cannot go to the stationery to buy a sheet, eraser, pencil, color, or whatever." I said, "No, nothing is required. You don't have to do anything. You go and do it in your tab." So most of them are successful. Your first year, second year, and third year, everybody has done it in a iPad now. So I think I was really happy. At least some of the institution now, they try to follow the same system for architecture in some of the VTO under VTO institutions. So they have consulted us how we are managing and all. And for the faculties are like they used to take a class, and it is a kind of a jury. It should get over in as you said, 25 minutes, 30 minutes. Now it is extended to 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, because of so many other issues. Like sometimes they'll say, no, can you draw and show me? Even teacher has to draw. So teacher has to learn what platform they have to use, how to draw, everything they have to learn. They are forcibly to do all such kind of thing. So now this time I'm happy because everybody is able to use the platform. Everybody is able to use a digital platform, how to teach and how to use those things. And the students are convenient. And most of our drawings are done in a CAD and a sketching platform. And in olden days, what happened? Olden days means before COVID. Everything, they don't want to take an effort to get into a digital. When they graduate and go out, they don't know how to draw it in a computer. Most of the offices, they are using a computer. So they are failed to get a job. And they will blame the institution, saying that, oh, now our institution, we didn't learn anything in the institution. So now the VTU has given a guidelines, and we are gone beyond the guidelines. And it has made us to prepare for all the unpredicted futures. So I'm happy. So that is how I can explain the COVID situation.
Nice, nice,
Yeah.
nice. So now I will go up to Sridhar sir. Sridhar sir, you come from the public policy space, and you have known about education for more than 2 decades. Uh, I want you to throw a light on how education and how this change has been different in our Western counterparts vis-a-vis Indian universities. What is the difference? How have they adapted to this change vis-a-vis we adapting to it?
First, let me kind of look at what has been running on top educators' mind in the US. I was
Mhm.
reading this survey done by higher education, inside higher education portal, wherein they interviewed top 200 presidents and vice chancellors of American universities. They went and asked them, what is your biggest headache? I mean, what are your top short term and what are your top long term challenges that you see? Right? You'll be surprised to know that some of the things are very startling. The first immediate term concern that the top educators had was the mental health of students. 91% of them were empathetic to the cause that the mental health of the students is at risk. The second biggest thing is the disproportionate impact on students who have low income backgrounds. Right? I mean, this is very important for all of us to know that even in advanced countries like America, the single biggest thing that's on the top of the educator's mind is saying that how will people who don't have a laptop at home, who don't have an internet connection at home, who don't have a UPS at home, how do they cope and how do they respond, right? And similarly, it translated then to the next bigger set of worries were the viability of the institutions, right? For them, they were worried about the student attrition that's going to be in the coming terms, right? What will happen if students don't sign up in significant groups? And of course, the related financial burden. This was the immediate concern. The long term actually came in the form of the student enrollment going down, right? If America has become so sensitive on future enrollments, Look at countries like India, right? If in India many parents don't have disposable income to the same extent, right? What is going to happen to them, right? And so significantly, even in America, the stress was significantly high. But at this point of time, something interesting happened, right? Uh, the best thing that across 600 universities a poll was done, and they were asked what were the things that you guys started, right? The first thing they set up was some form of emergency response system. They said students can contact us and tell us what challenge they are facing, and we'll try and do something about it. That acknowledgement was the first thing that happened. The second thing was creating a portal on which all the students, faculty, and administration were all on the same page. Then they understood and clarified what is our policy as far as A, B, C, D E are concerned, right? And that's something that was very well received and very impactful that happened, right? And then and then the third thing that happened was the institution altered their grading policy. They looked at moving to a pass or fail system. They looked at a universal pass system in many ways. They went back and said, while we are while we are battling a COVID crisis, we could look at two things, right? I mean, either say we'll go ahead and do the exams in a very, very tough, demanding way, or kind of reduce the impact of those examinations and see what are the alternative ways in which we can impact, right? That's what was happening across in US and many other countries. When you look at what's happening in India, right? In India also, we have also, as Dr. Subramania said, many universities, many colleges have been on the journey of digital adoption, right? And and for those universities and institutions that were already experimenting with this was the best time for them to do the mettle of their investment, right? And I think we have many success stories. We of course will have glitches here and there, but at the same time, when you're compassionate and empathetic about student and different users, we can leverage these exams and we can leverage these technologies and win with this, right? I think more than ever before, educators have been communicating to their students. They have been writing regular updates. They have been using SMS as platform, right? Because not everybody will have a website sorry, not everybody will have a laptop. Will not have a mobile phone that is like high end, which can look at streaming videos, etc. But at least all of us can read SMS, right? So SMSs have been powerful too. Many universities have also been thinking of how to use blended approach, right? I mean, if you want to do some exams, do something online now. But if anybody is not able to do online, they can always come back to the university once it opens up, and they can take up their tests or exams or whatever, right? So a flexible approach has emerged in many universities in India, and those who have invested earlier on in technology familiarization, technology adaptation, have been at the forefront of being able to somewhat smoothly transition. And that's been our observation across the university.
Nice, nice. Okay, so now I will go on to Dr. Subramania again. Sir, uh, technology is here to stay. That we all know, we have entered the technology era. Now, how do you see, like now, RV is in Bangalore. Then you're facing issues shifting from the regular thing to the technology, and the teachers are also trying to adapt to the new change. Now, if we go into the little interiors, because India is a very diverse country, the diversity of our nation, we have to look into that now. Now, how do you see India, your college, other colleges, educating the students from across the spectrum? If supposingly we think of going online for good.
Okay. So let me tell you, Priya, that as I already told you, as an institution, actually, everybody in the country, 100% had to switch over to online during this COVID. And we are seeing that there is definitely a network connectivity, accessibility problem in the remote places. we don't say. I have already told you, even during the classes and even during the tests, we have found that our thing would have been 80 to 90% and things of that sort. So 5 to 10% of the students were missing. But let me also tell you, people look at connectivity. But don't you think that at least 95% of the engineering students have got mobile phones with them? Are they not having the smartphones with them? So what happens is it depends how a students take this education. That is very important from the student's side. Otherwise, what I can always say, network connectivity is not there. Simply to escape, I can say. But we find that at least I don't say in a remote corner, we have seen some students. Let me also tell you, people literally have a technology problem. They are more sincere and punctual in informing us. Let us see, if I say in cities, people say that I had a net problem. So this is somewhere I always keep used to say that the self-discipline among students is very, very important apart from the faculty preparedness in the online. I think these two things should match. If it doesn't match, I think when we were all studying, if you take that technology, this technology is far, far ahead. And I'm sure that we will also be coming with 5G technologies and things of that sort. And connectivity is going to increase. This problem, do you think 100% attendance is there in the offline, that is in the college? Anyway, that is also not there. So in that way, it may be very easy for us to blame the technology. But actually, in reality, this minority of 5 to 10%, I think we always bothered about that percentage. But the kind of advantage the 95% of the students are getting, I think that is also very important. We should not forget. So in that way, I am sure that there are hiccups, accessibility, connectivity problems are there. It can happen anywhere. Now we are on online. Here also it can happen. So that does not mean that we can only go on giving technology as the example, but I am sure that we have very good connectivity across the country and people are putting a lot of effort. And this percentage, we can always take care of it. So we cannot go on blaming for that. So as I've already told you, one line I would like to say, the student self-discipline and the preparedness of the faculty for online is a key to make the online very successful.
Nice. So, taking the key from Dr. Subramania, I'm going to come to you, Sudhir sir. Uh, when we talk about online education, what Dr. Subramania just said, students, the behavior patterns of students are different when we are talking about the interiors, because there might be more serious than what we see in our colleges here. Where is this passion? There is a passion to learn. There should be that passion to learn if you want to become the whatever we want. If you want to become a success story tomorrow, the passion, and that somewhere we see missing in our present generation, specifically that are coming from the urban sector.
Yeah.
Now, how do we firstly this change, upar se this change, so it is they're feeling even more burdened with the change. So how do we merge this technology and bring up the passion quotient in the students? How do we motivate them to move ahead with the passion that we see in Howard, with the passion that we see in Yale? How do we see that passion here?
See, first of all, I just wanted to add some point to Dr. Subramaniam, Professor Subramaniam. See, now our parents used to tell us, okay, so that Vishwesvaraya has studied under a street lamp and there was no power, there was no internet, but still he has studied, right? So those kind of things, if you have an interest, if you have a passion, they will make a way to study. They won't find the reason or anything saying that, oh, I don't have internet, I don't have facility, I don't have mobile or whatever. If you want to study, make some arrangement, get into the teaching line. Otherwise, every time people will say, the student attitude is the same thing. Okay, they want to find an excuse. If the teacher also saying that, okay, no problem, okay, next time you submit, then there is a failure. So we should understand the situation, then we have to move on. So if they want to study, they can study anywhere. So before that, I wanted to just to give you some kind of a background what is happening. Schools are focused more on imparting a knowledge. Okay, so basically the purpose is the same. Like you have to teach them, you have to transfer the knowledge. Everything is same. But from the first industrial revolution to the fourth industrial revolution, the 4.0 or whatever, we are in the same stage. Okay, I would like to give you some example. So I'm the third generation in civil engineering field. Like my dad is also a civil engineer, and my dad's dad is also he was worked with the PWD and all. My dad, he has studied the plane table survey. That's one subject I'm giving you example. He has studied a plane table survey when he was doing his engineering. Even I was doing it. I also studied a plane table. I'm also teaching my student is a plane table, but it is not available in the market. It is not required. So what we are producing? So are we transferring the right knowledge to the people or the students? Are we creating a right generation? No. So that is what. See, now the outlook of the education has changed. The purpose of education has changed. But inside the classroom, the curriculum, the assignment, the way we teach, everything is the same old theory. Okay. Only the cover of the book, we'll say, na cover of the book, you don't judge with the cover of the book. Cover of the book is changed. Okay. So that is very sad. So now we have different tools are available in education field. Different tools like broadened like anything to the large extent. And the mode of the search for the knowledge is like we used to go to the library and search for the topic and the content and everything, and come back and ask the teacher the doubts and other things. Now the search for the knowledge has been changed from browsing the books to the browsing to the net. Okay, within just a button of the press, you will get everything. So I can give you one example. One of the seminars what we have conducted, and he was just coming and delivering something just for the sake of it. Okay. Student immediately they searched in the internet and they said, no, sir, it is not like this. Okay, what you're saying in Wikipedia is different. So this is what is happening. So everybody is in accessible in the internet, and they can just search whatever the topic we want. And the internet mode, the thirst of knowledge is from acquiring to searching. So instead of acquiring a knowledge, we are into a searching of knowledge. Suppose if you have a problem, you just get into a YouTube or any channel and find a solution, correct yourself, move on. Okay. But now in olden days, it is not like that. If you have a problem and you have to go to the library, check for the content and everything. Okay, that's a tedious. Now the whole scenario is changed. Okay, and even that arena of such vast knowledge has been opened up some hidden doors, like the job profile. So the olden days, like there is a major shift in the job profile. We used to have a routine job profile, and now you cannot survive with the routine job profile. You have to be cognitive. You have to be innovative. Okay, then only you can survive, because the technology, the what is there today, it is not there tomorrow. Always you will be in a pink slip. If our teachers are not prepared for online education, they are always in a pink slip, right? They cannot teach. They cannot adopt the technology. So similarly, with there is a new vast emerging areas are also coming up in different fields. So what like AI and AR, VR, different fields. And there is a wide scope of for the expansion also. So as a today's school, we should play a major role to teach them the skill what is required for today, or you have to give a skill to work with an unpredictable future. We have to teach them how to handle the unpredictable future, how to survive. All those things as a school we have to teach them. Otherwise, it is just a waste. Everything is available. Everything is available in internet. Why should we go to the school? So what is the role of the school? So I just wanted to quote one of the quote from Albert Einstein. What we cannot, what he has said is, we cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them. Okay, we cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them. Now it is different. Situation is different, right? So we have to think in a different way. So similarly, school should understand what is the student's interest, and they should not force on the students. Okay, now you learn survey, you learn this one, you learn this. Oh, you'll get a degree certificate. No, because student interest is different. Now, similarly, I can give you one example. There is one university in Germany, in Bremen. So they wanted to combine dance form into architecture, because she wants to get into a dance form, convert into architecture. Dance form is converted into architecture. So interesting, because it's an interest subject from her. So she wants to take it up. The university is supporting. Similarly, here in the schools also, we should understand what is required, what is the interest of the student. We should give it to them. Similarly, that if this is a kind of a approach what we have, then obviously there will be a good growth in education system. So what my the basic point is here, not a technology. First, we should teach them how to learn. That is important. Tomorrow, technology might be different. You might not have a computer at all. You might be having a chip. Okay, you might insert in a hand or a brain or something like that. We don't know. But you teach them how to learn and what to learn. How can you solve your problem? That is very important. So only technology is not solving everything. That is what my point.
That's an excellent point given, Professor Sudhir. Excellent.
Thank you.
I will now, from here, I will take it to now Sridhar sir. Sridhar sir, I want you to throw light on education at one point, and Subramaniam sir is going to hate me for this. Education at one point of time, India was the pioneer. We had everything running correct because we were probably a little ahead of our time back then. Then, of course, when the Britishers came in and other things happened, where we got into an industrial era, and we started mass producing labors. In short, our education system changed from Gurukul to Nalanda, Takshila. It came down to, okay, there was an era, we needed that kind of outcome. So education transformed as per that. Now we have entered the technology era. So the education system has to be tweaked now as per the era. Otherwise, these kids, if we still continue training them under the industrial era, they are going to face a lot of issues going ahead. I want you to now please throw some more light as to how these eras changed, what were the precursors, and how now going forward technology can actually be used as your best friend.
Thank you, Priya. I think it's quite a challenging question, but let me make an attempt to answer it. Even before I go ahead, one of the best things that has happened in this era is that from a synchronous mode, that how teaching used to happen earlier, we are now able to learn in an asynchronous mode. I need not be in the same space that Dr. Subramania is teaching and be at the same time and at the same place. But today, the same lecture can be recorded, and I can see 12 hours later in a different place, right? So I think that's the key that many universities and students are using innovatively, where they are asking somebody to kind of make sure it's downloaded and kept, and they are able to pick it up and use it and see it later. Even if there is no internet all the time, there is some way in which you can do this and see it later, right? So that's very, very interesting thing that has happened. Now, coming to the changing role of education, right? I think if you go back to the good old days, and good old days are actually the golden days as far as India was concerned. If you go back to, Yeshwanthpur in Bangalore, we had coins dating back to the Roman Empire in the 29th BC to 14th AD. Those coins were found in Yeshwanthpur, right? So the global trade was very, very active, and India was a big player in global trade. I mean, the spices, the silk, and all of it was globally known. We almost had 33% share of world economy according to Agnes Madison in his estimates, he says India had 33% share of global GDP when you go back to the first AD, right? And then slowly and steadily, India's trade and China also started rising. And by about 1720 is where India's trade started to decelerate. It had come down to 25, and by the time of independence, it had come down to almost less than 5% of global GDP. Right? So what we had actually ended up becoming from a very, very important global trade partner, we had ended up becoming a back office for the Britishers. What were we doing? We were actually either shipping away raw materials and resources all the way to England. The England would have the Industrial Revolution. The England would kind of produce the final end product, and we would be buying them at a higher price, right? So that reign of 200 years has actually kind of brought us to our knees, right? And thankfully, the last 70 years, we have kind of got some hang of what needs to be done. Slow and steady progress was made. And I think 1991 was when India really woke up and said, we have a global role to play, right? And I think the years from 1991 till today, and many of us have actually flourished in this era and season, and we have seen how our fortunes have changed, right? Intergenerational incomes have increased very much, right? Pre-90s, even if a well-educated person would get a job that would pay a few thousand rupees, he would be super elated, right? And I think that's a change that has happened. Now let's look at what happens to learning, right? The learning in the olden days was of you see whatever you see, you make observations, and then you can choose a role that you want to play in the economic world order. And by the 17th to 19th century, we were reduced to just doing what the Britishers told us, right? And hence we had no independent economic thinking and perception of what is happening in global trade. What is it? Where can I generate more wealth? Where can I generate? Where can I be smarter with all the resources that I have? None of those mattered, right? And I think post 91 is where we at least got the leg up as far as information technology and biotechnology is concerned. Bangalore has been a significant beneficiary. Hyderabad has been a significant beneficiary. Where both these cities have shown how development can be leapfrogged and how greater amount of wealth creation can happen. And what these two cities pioneered, every other city is today catching up and saying, okay, we also want to be an IT hub, we also have a tech park, and all of those things, right? But still, we are not still global trade partners in our thinking. Our educational curriculum still has a lot of catching up. Even our minds have a lot of catching up, right? How often do we see students stepping back and saying, I see a market of 7 billion people, right? They see a market of, okay, 1 billion people is good enough for me, right? They're not thinking of beyond borders. They're probably not even thinking beyond their local markets, right?
They're probably not even thinking of entrepreneurship. They're just thinking of getting a job somewhere.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter whether you're an entrepreneur or a job seeker, right? Even the job that you seek, you should have a mindset of a global market.
Of a global leader, yes.
You have the mindset of a global market. Even if you are in a job, you can do your job much better than. Right?
Correct.
Secondly, that's in the business to consumer space. Even the business to business space, right? How often do you see a business in India trying to have global aspirations, trying to strike deals across the world, right? But look at what China has done in the meantime, right? They've become the central piece of the manufacturing puzzle that's happened. What we have done in the services space, China has captured in the manufacturing space. So a lot of things for us to learn, a lot of things for us to build upon, right? So I think one of the things that I did when we started speaking about this is I went back and said, what are the interesting areas that we should be learning, right? I came up with a few things that we could look at, right? One is a deeper understanding of product management, especially those who are in the IT services space. Have a greater outlook and start thinking about products. Think about creating our own Microsoft Office. Think about creating our own Google suite of products, right? How do you compete with those kind of people, right? So that's the global aspiration that we have to bring in. and say, how do you service at scale, right? How do you create it once and sell it to millions of people, right? That's the kind of mindset that we need to bring. The second is learn the discipline of what we call as consumer behavior, right? Are we able to sit back and analyze why is a particular product becoming much more popular than all other competing products, right? How are they able to talk to the consumer better, right? And I think that's something for all students to have an innate knowledge, irrespective of what stream you are studying in, but at least try and understand what is happening in consumer's mind and how can you try and change the consumer. The third is have some understanding of international law, because the borders are collapsing, right? Today, what you are making here could be selling anywhere else. That's the case. You need to understand different taxation, different legal frameworks. Where is the liability existing? Even in software, right? Even in software, the data privacy today spans how US treats it, how Europe treats it with GDPR, and how India will treat it in the coming days with a new regulation that it will come for itself, right? So how do you understand international law? You need to be able to at least start picking up judgments, reading them, and see what is the implication of that. And finally, one other thing is very important, right? The global consumerism race has left everybody fatigued in the COVID world. Everybody who thought business as usual will run are today in for a shock. And I think that's where going back to sustainable modes are very important. How can you step back and get into understanding how can I be in an off-grid kind of scenario, right? When hurricanes, cyclones, all of these happen, we are cut off from power supply, we are cut off from internet. How do we sustain in local loops, right? That's very important. And I think COVID has given all of us a kickstart lesson on that and understand, okay, if you are cut off from everything else, how do you at least kickstart and survive? That Tarzan instinct in each one of us has been activated, and hopefully that is something that we will take forward. And continue to look at global trade. And I think I would encourage every graduate, every postgraduate student to have an eye on what's happening in global trade. People who are actually good observers of US-China relationship always said China was far more powerful than it was showing off in the last 20 years. US was far less powerful than how it was showing off in the international arena.
Projections were different, yes.
That's the reason today China is able to maneuver and outmaneuver US in many, many issues, right? And hopefully people will start taking interest in these global macro things as well, right? So I think these are the sustainable skills that I think we should encourage all our students to start picking up. And then, we have a lot of knowledge from our own ancient past, be it Kautilya's Arthashastra. If you can take that and look at the global environment today in new lenses.
It still works, yes.
Yeah, but look at it from a modernism era. Look at it from the rigor that how US makes its policies, how Europe makes its policies. We can't just say that, tab bahut acha tha. We should take tab bahut acha tha and aaj bhi bahut acha hai. Right? That is a research mindset that we need to inculcate.
Yes, now that is exactly what I was coming to, and research mindset. And another point, I'm going to come to you, Sudhir sir. Another very important point from the beginning. See, just check Ashutosh Chawla's comment also, and we add that.
Yes.
Okay, we will take that up. This comment is actually important. How it starts from school, how it starts from the basic mindset that is made from the beginning that money is not everything. We have started tuning children from the beginning. Do not think about money. So how will they think about global growth when from the beginning they're told money is not important? And even in colleges, I have not seen any college actually working upon how to make money.
Exactly.
No child is told how to make money. They're just told, okay, you'll get a job here, you'll get a job there, you do this, you do that. But how do you make money? Taking from the education system, from school going up to the college, Sudhir sir, how to make money?
See, that is what we need a school. That's the main reason. Everybody will talk about business strategy. Everybody will talk about how to teach and everything, and we will forget to teach how to make money. Okay, that is a very, very important thing. So every school should teach the student how to make money, not like in a bad manner. So how can you utilize your education to survive, to find your food? Okay, not directly to make money, to find your food. How can you convert your knowledge to earn something? So that is where we have to be. And he has mentioned about syllabus is old or something like that. See, ma'am, I just wanted to add a point on that. Uh, I don't know, CBSE he has mentioned. I can just talk about our university syllabus. Uh, Nobody has told us to go beyond the syllabus, right? This is only the VTU or whatever the university they are saying. It is only a benchmark. So you can go beyond that. Nobody is stopping you, but don't come below that. So similarly, I think you have started teaching psychology for the students, architectural student, which was not part of the syllabus. The theater, which was not part of the syllabus. She was coming and taking the classes for the architecture student. Why it is required? So there are certain thoughts gone behind that, and we have taken up psychology and theater and so many other subjects as a part of the curriculum. So this is VTU has not told, or any university has not told us to conduct those classes, but she has conducted. So that is where. So we have to understand what best we can give it to the student. That is important, madam. And instead of blaming the teaching system is bad or whatever, we can think how to make it better, and we can take those things as a guideline and take it to the next level. Okay, so even teaching system can be better. You can teach whole art class or whole history class with the kind of ekshagana or with the kind of any other art form. So we can do that. So nobody is stopping, right? Now we have taught the whole that English syllabus through the your what is that art class, right? English syllabus is through art class, performing art class. So
Performing arts, yes.
Performing art class.
That has been incorporated into schools. Incorporated in schools also now.
Yes, everywhere. So
English, English arts, yes.
We cannot say that our syllabus is old or whatever. They have already put the guidelines, so we can go beyond that. So nobody is stopping us. That is how we can go in an innovative way.
Okay, I will now go to Dr. Subramaniam, who's been very quiet for very long now. Coming to you, Doc. As Professor Sudhir said, as Sridhar sir said, that the history somewhere, while connecting it to the international world, that we are talking about a mindset change. We are talking about a change in the way we look at the world, a change in the way we look at ourselves. Because whenever I have done classes across the platform, be it colleges, be it schools, a little thing, you ask a simple question to any student, starting from schools. Where do you see yourself 5 years from today? Or where do you see yourself 10 years from today? The most common answer I've started getting these days is, I see myself as working in Google. I'm like, why can't you create your own Google? How can I create my own Google? Now particularly this thing, why do we lack that confidence in us that we can create something? How do we get this confidence in the students that you have the best minds in on this planet Earth? That is why everybody is hiring you. Now, for shifting from the hiring mindset and getting into the mindset of research, getting into the mindset of becoming the world leaders, how do we bring about that shift? And from where it has started, we were world leaders, as Sridhar sir said. How do we bring about that change?
Okay, I think I was listening to a lot of conversation, whatever is happening. I have a little bit a different kind of an opinion that somewhere being Indians, our problem is to blame ourselves. Okay, somewhere I think that the first mindset has to go is point number one. Point number two, see, I am in touch with, let us say, a lot of foreign professors who come to my college. Today, we all say that student is not employable, student is not this, student is not that. We keep on telling her. But you see, across the world, our students only are there. So, That is point number two. Point number three is I keep on asking these people that why you are coming to India nowadays. They say that Indian students are flexible and adaptable.
Hmm.
These are the 2 points they say. If you go to Germany and talk to a German student, they say that they're very, they don't want to even switch over to 0.1% of what they're doing. Today, at least I get every month from these countries, and they say we want Indian students because they're flexible and adaptable. So let us not go on looking into there is nothing good in India. I think that concept itself was touched about. That
No, no.
is
Huh.
I want to give that point. And
Hmm.
as far as teaching, learning, I request all the people who are not into the teaching mode, they should come back to the institution and check what is happening. Because we
Hmm.
always go outside and try to comment it's because teachers and that education are soft targets actually for everybody in the
Hmm.
society. Because we don't
Yes.
react
Yes.
so quickly and
Hmm.
everybody would try to comment about us. But let me
Hmm.
tell you, good institutions in the country, whatever people are talking about today, if you take my college, you see the
Hmm.
syllabus, whatever I have. I ask my
Hmm.
faculty to check the top 10 universities in the world in that particular course. Whatever is not, please start teaching in your college.
Hmm.
So it's
Hmm.
happening. It's only that by the time it goes to the market, it is not pursued in a right way. And that is one. Second, you talk about entrepreneurship. You talk
Hmm.
about research mindset. See, typically, I don't know if you take across the cadre, what is our economic status in the country? Because ours is a generation who have to motivate the next generation to do better, go for entrepreneurship. Let me ask you a question. How many parents today can tell his son or daughter to go for an entrepreneurship role? Please tell me. Let us touch our heart and ask whether we ask our students, our children to go for entrepreneurship. We say
Hmm.
get a good job in Google is more than sufficient.
Hmm.
So this is because of the previous generation's economic status,
Hmm.
which is telling people not to look into the research bent of mind. See, I have come from a town.
Hmm.
Okay. Now my children have been placed in a little bit better way when I compare to me. Now they are
Hmm.
in a position to think because economically everything is stable. No, for
Hmm.
them, they need not have to worry about roti, kapda, or makan.
Hmm.
Already they have that. Now what has happened? Their thinking has been a little bit better than us in terms of free will thinking, thinking out of the box, and an engineer joining the literature. These things are happening now. It's not. But only thing is, our country is so diverse that we are not in a position to highlight some good things, whatever is happening, because it's happening is at discrete points of time. If you
Hmm.
want to make it as a continuous thing, I think it takes a lot of time because not only in the last 20 years, a lot of
Hmm.
technological changes have happened. I'm sure that certain percentage of the students in the institutions in the country have a research bent of mind.
Hmm.
If my college a student comes and asks me that
Hmm.
I'm a computer science student, want to do some research in robotics. He
Hmm.
wants to change the area.
Hmm.
So it is happening because of the diversity, heterogeneity, huge population. I think we may not be seeing it. It is happening, let us say, in bits and pieces. I am very confident in the next 20 years, you see whatever you are talking about Takshashila, Nalanda, it is going to happen. I am very confident about that because our students are very good. See, one part, the knowledge, the skill, whatever you talk, they are definitely better than us.
Hmm.
That much I can say. Where we have to tune them is on the other part of handling the failures, looking into the mentoring mode, because every one of our children are pampered today. I think that
Correct.
mindset to go. If that goes away, I think we are in the very good frame of mind because whole world wants Indian students. Let me tell you.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
in
There
that
is no
way,
doubt that India has the best of the brain and the
so
adaptability.
that best of the brain may not have come only because of the student efforts. It is also because of the education system. Let us not forget it.
Of course,
So
of
it
course.
could be for school because I talked to many of the American professors. They say that your schooling system, we blame our own schooling system, correct? But they say, I think this is helping them for the lifelong learning. Their education is based on the skill only. See, there
Hmm.
is a statement that skill is to handle certainty, knowledge is to handle uncertainty.
Hmm.
So knowledge is also very important, like a skill.
Hmm.
So what happens is I've been taught on analog watches. Let us say HMT, for example. Today, analog thing is not there. That skill is not useful to me now. So, when I'm in an education system, my focus should be more on the knowledge base because it is helpful for the lifelong learning. Skill development based on the technology which are changing every 5 years or 2 years, 3 years. I should not make whole 100% a skill according to me. We are not in a business. Somebody is telling me how we have to teach how to make money. I am not doing business here. I am doing education for a lifelong learning. Business is only one part in that.
Correct.
So let us not forget it. And of course, skill development, when we compare with other, the main difference we find in the education system is that the skill development has to be enhanced. I think that I will completely accept. If we can do that with all the ecosystem, whatever we have, we can definitely do much better than others. I think that's my opinion now.
Yes, yes, that's a good opinion, sir. It is a good opinion, and it is a different mindset altogether. But again, I am going to come back to one thing. He's going to kill me, sir. You're going to kill me. I am
No,
going to come back to money again, because by the end of the day, the jobs are coming down in the engineering sector. The jobs are coming down, and we'll see a lot of jobs coming down going ahead. COVID has already seen that. We are seeing that. I'm coming to you, Sridhar, sir. COVID has already seen a lot of layoffs across the globe. We don't know how the job sector will look also going forward. And yes, sir, I'm coming to you. And I'm coming back to Dr. Subramaniam. Subramaniam, yes,
see,
sir, yes.
let me tell you, jobs are coming down for the people who don't want to change. This is very important. People would like to change even at the age of 60 years. If we can learn artificial intelligence, if we can learn mechatronics. So there is a shift. There's a
There's a
shift which industries are looking for. So if a person can change at any point of time, reskill himself, jobs are still available. That much I can
yes,
tell you.
yes,
Okay.
yes, yes. The valid point where the passion is within, and if we really wish to change, there is nothing impossible.
Yeah.
If we really wish to acquire something, nothing is impossible. So I'm coming back to Sridhar sir. Sridhar sir, in colleges and all, is it possible? Now there is a set curriculum set by VTU or by the other universities. Uh, Now, as an autonomous college, as Dr. Subramania, as well as Professor Sudhir, they come from the autonomous college background. As an autonomous college, can I create, apart from what has been set, is it possible for me to create a curriculum like how Harvard is, like how you have to bring in that? How are the universities working abroad? How are they bringing in so much different value? Every university will be very different, bringing in different courses, bringing in creative elements. Plus, is it possible to bring in seed funding, angel funding kind of uh, what do you say, the the chapters into the education system, because that is where most of the people are not aware how to bring in the money for a startup. The seed funding and angel funding and the banking system is very important to start any entrepreneur stuff.
So it's an interesting phase that India is going through. And let's
Hmm.
understand what are the broad changes that have happened.
Hmm.
Ever since about 96 to 2001 to where we are today, the
Hmm.
gross enrollment ratio in higher education has grown fourfold. The number
Hmm.
of people who are pursuing their graduate and postgraduate programs has increased fourfold, right?
Hmm.
That's a massive scale, right? I don't know if you all remember by 1996, when we wanted to choose an engineering college in Karnataka, we had
Hmm.
a choice of 26 colleges. By the
Hmm.
time it was 2000, it has
Hmm.
ballooned to 102, right? And today we have news of uh, one or the other engineering college closing down, every few months, right? And I think
Hmm.
that's a wonderful experiment that has happened in India. And I think that's been the golden period of engineering education.
Hmm.
Now, what I would like to see
Hmm.
is similar kind of growth and expansion to happen in the medical education space, right?
Hmm.
We need 100 times more number of people in the medical space, be it doctors, nurses, intensivists, and others, right? And that's very interesting. Dr. Devi Shetty has been speaking on length on this issue and said that if I had a college on the size of the football ground, I could set up a medical college in US, but in India I need to have a 5-acre or 50-acre kind of a campus, and that's when I get licenses, right? I think we need to now significantly step back and learn from our engineering experience and our higher education experience itself, and see how do we make this a global scale? How do we kind of do massification of quality education? I'm not saying we compromise on quality. That's not at all acceptable. But how do you reach the same amount of quality? Right? I mean, the Ramaya, the Geetams of the world, the RVCs of the world have continued to deliver a good quality output the way they have been doing 20, 30, 40 years ago. Now, how do you retain the same essence and make it much better and grow in scale, right? If you look at it, the gross enrollment ratio in India is today touching about 26%. The same in China is about 48%, right? So many people are going to universities in China, right? In actually higher income countries, it's all the way up to 75%, right? Every out of 4 people, every 3 people have gone on to get a graduate or a postgraduate. Now, it's for all of us to now step back and say, how do we get to uh, that level of education and knowledge sharing, right? It's not necessary that you need to become a PhD to do something great, right? I mean, that's not what we are saying. We are saying that we will benefit by learning from others' mistakes. I think education is the cheapest way of learning a lot, rather than making our own mistakes, right? So we should get into this mode of expanding in a very, very high fashion, right? The national education policy has started making the steps in the right direction. And I think there is very, very hopeful days for all of us in the higher education space, where if we can make significant number of innovations, significant number of representation to the different governments, and say that, you know what, if we want to achieve, even now we are short of the 32% gross enrollment ratio that we want to achieve by 2022, right? And that's very, very difficult, especially after COVID has hit us this time in 2 years to ramp up to 32% from 26% where we were a couple of years ago. So when we keep all of these in mind and see, can we push the government to look at a higher trust way in which they talk to universities, they talk to institutions of higher education, right? In India, we have 60,000 higher educational institutions, right? That's a massive number of institutions, right? And if the government starts thinking and saying that autonomy is something that I can trust and give it to these institutions, they've been here, many of them have been here for decades, right? Let them go out on a limb and try to modernize the way they want to see, they want to go ahead and change. And probably that's when we'll be able to attract the best academicians from across the world, be it of Indian origin or different origin, to come and teach and work with us, right? To come and research with us, to come and integrate their thinking with us, right?
With us, yes.
One of the things that when I was in the software industry, one of the things that all my employers did was make sure that we made a client visit. We went to the client's place, went to the customer's place, wherever it was, be it Europe, be it America, wherein we would understand the context in which they were saying, right? Other than that, reading a document, being on weekly call, we will not get the feel of the customer as much as being there, right? ITBT has been doing that for the last 30 years, right? But how many textile guys are going out there and learning what's happening in other countries? How many farmers are going out to different countries and learning what is happening, right? We are doing in bits and pieces, as Dr. Subramania rightly said, we are doing in bits and pieces many, many excellent things. But what we now need is the scale that at which India is, right? How can we scale it to 1.3 billion people and then give them global aspirations, global growth mindset, right? And I think I would like to share, if I have the time, something that Professor Arvind Panagaria said. Arvind Panagaria, many of you know, he's the economist from Columbia University. He was the vice chairman of the Niti Aayog, right? And he kind of commented recently on the national education policy. And he said that curriculum, agenda setting, collaborations, all of these things should be facilitated and promoted by government with a much, much more higher trust than how it's happening today. And I think that's a very, very important thing when it comes from somebody who has seen it from all different angles, right? And I goes on to say a very important thing. He says UGC should make away with something called as the Higher Education Promotion Commission, right? He says the commission's motivation should be to promote higher education, right? And he says they should have a very, very different mindset.
Yeah.
And they should not go back to the Inspector Raj. On some particular day, some committee will come and inspect the toilet of your architecture school. Then we will haunt you for three years, right? I mean, whether the toilet is good enough or not, whether the lab is good enough or not, the students will vote with their wallet very, very sooner than some committee will come and inspect and do justice to, right? We should trust our students. We should trust in the ability of our students to force the management collectively to make the right change, right? And in that, it's a very, very interesting thing, right? He says, if you can make sure that all institutions, all universities will put on their website what do they stand for, what is the commitment they are making to different stakeholders, and you go and test them by that itself. That should be the minimal role that the Higher Education Promotion Commission should be doing, rather than by saying that I'll come and inspect this on this day and do something else on the other day, right? I think we need to go into a higher trust way of doing things. There's a beautiful book that was written on trust and how trust can enable us to function much better. This was written by a professor called Tarun Khanna, and I think that's something that all of us should read if we want to rethink our mindset on where are we going as a society. Can we move to a higher trust society where I and you can trust each other very naturally and be sure that if either of us break the contract that we both are making to each other, the law will give us justice, right? And that way, the enforcement of law of contract has been the biggest bottleneck in India for a very, very long time.
Very long time.
Doing business, what is holding us back? The enforcement of the law, the contract law itself has been the biggest thing that's been pulling us down, right? So how do we enable us to move to a higher trust economy? Many, many interesting things have happened today. Today, thanks to mobile phone proliferation, the linkage to Aadhaar, the banking system being much more liberalized today, you have today a startup can integrate a payment gateway and enable transactions in probably less than 2 weeks than how it used to take many years. Right? All of us have struggled in our own institutions personally. But so these kind of structural changes that's happening in technology, that's happening in processes, the government should also reciprocate and become a partner in it. Right? I think what Arvind says there is very, very important, of saying that how does the government trust the higher education institutions much more and say, go and do whatever you want to do, we are with you, right? I think that's the mindset and that's the conversation all of us educationists should have much more with our governments and try to tell them that here are the 5 things that we would like to experiment. We may succeed in a few, we may fail in a few. But as long as we all understand why we are doing this, I think we will all come out as winners on the other side.
Yes. Thank you. That was superbly insightful. Now I'm going to unmute all of you in one go. Anything that has come to anybody's mind that you would want to share? Dr. Subramania, I am unable to unmute you. Can you please unmute yourself, Dr. Subramania? Okay, Doctor.
There were some questions that has been asked, right?
Yes.
There are some person has asked some questions, so I can be answered on that.
Dr. Subramania has frozen. Anyways, so more than the question, sir, what everybody has just spoken, there were 2 very strong mindsets that have come in on the forefront. One is like definitely our education system, it has produced good brains. There is no denying of that. But going ahead, we are talking about technology taking over, changes happening at a rapid pace. We are talking about changes at a very rapid pace. For example, COVID, we saw it was like all of a sudden there was a change. And this change management is not possible till the time we do not let our students, help them think more, help them become more self-sufficient, help them, push them towards research, push them towards the global aspect of things, push them towards more inner confidence, rather than creating, as we said, the mass production of labors that needs to now somewhere stop, be it by the policy makers of the nation or by the heads of the colleges. It is something like, as Sudhir sir said, he has already started applying that in his college, irrespective of the guidelines. The basic is being taken care of. But what can the colleges do above what has been asked to be done? And how do we get them plugged into the real world of money making, real world of the economics? So is it, no matter what course one picks up, somewhere I feel economics should be taught to everybody, the basics at least. The basics of getting the seed funders, the basic of getting the loans, the basics of believing that I can be the Google tomorrow. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, very true, very true. If you because most of the people will say most of the startups are failure. Why it is failure? Because we have not taught them how to run, how to make money, right? We have already we have spoken about the ethics, the business strategy, planning, market study, research, case study, everything we spoke. But they failed just because they don't know how to manage their money. Okay, they might be having a money, so that somebody might have funded, but they don't know how to manage. So that's why the failure happens. So how can we correct it? In your architecture, in our architecture, also same problem. We teach all everything, how to design the bungalow or whatever, the school or whatever it may be. But when it comes to run their own firm, sometimes they will fail. Most of the time they will fail if they don't have a proper experience. Okay, because in a school we are not teaching them how to run their own companies. So that means indirectly we should teach them how to make money, how to manage the money. Instead of how to make money, you can say that how to manage the money. If you can teach them how to manage money, everybody will be successful, I think.
Uh, Sridhar sir,
Yes.
I want you to take this question, please.
So, actually, it's a very interesting question, and it's very close to our heart when we are setting up.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, we began with two very interesting ideas. The first was of saying that we should rebalance the role of business, government, and society in India, right? Go across. I mean, many of you have traveled across the world. Our listeners have traveled across the world. You don't see government doing so many services uh, like what we do in India, right? I think for us in India, we have to separate the role of government into two things. One, um, the aspect of regulation versus service delivery, right? And the service delivery bit is something that can be easily opened up to private players, right? And similarly, I mean, today when COVID happens, a significant response has been from the civil society space, right? And government is sometimes catching up with what civil society wants to do on many fronts, right? And what should the businesses do, right? And where should their leadership be? Somewhere in India, we have to step back and critically re-examine what is the role of business, government, and society in India when we go forward, right? How does the government play not the role of rowing the boat, but actually on the role of steering the boat? Right? And that's a very interesting analogy that government can take and enable individual organizations and people to kind of try and steer the boat and do the hard work of rowing the boat. Right? That's one very interesting idea that we are working with and trying to see how can we rebalance the role of business, government, and society. Right? The second thing that we have not done a lot in India is we have always been a mass producing nation, not necessarily giving option on choice for customization, right? So how do you make a gateway for local aspirations to become globally met and recognized, right? And
Think local, talk global, yes.
yeah, how do you actually give mechanisms to that? If you look at what we believe is that we have to build a new generation of leaders who can actually work on this mindset. for them to look at the democratic institutions, the processes that have been set around us, and rightfully go and make those smaller local aspirations achievable in our lifetimes, right? Why is it that an entrepreneur, why is it that a leader in India does not feel as powerful as a leader elsewhere across the world, right? And I think that's what for all of us to go back and look at, right? I mean, we should look at leaders around the world, we should look at followers around the world and see how is it that they are able to achieve something in so much less time and so much less. That is something that we need to try and bring
Welcome
in.
back, Subramania sir.
Oh,
We
yeah.
missed.
I had some problem. Okay. Yeah.
No, no issues. Yeah. Yes, sir. Sridhar sir, continue.
Yeah. So I think that level playing field of how can we create that, I don't have to be a very rich guy to go and set up a company, right? How do you make it a level playing field? And that's where we bring our students and make them interact a lot with these change makers across business, government, and society, right? Our admissions are going to start by next year, but already today for the next 365 days, we are talking to leaders across spectrum and trying to understand from them, saying that what would they like our students to come equipped into their workplace, right? And that's something that we are doing. We are talking to a lot of youngsters who have done some very interesting set of courses, fellowship, etc. That's in the governance and public policy space. We would like to understand what is it that they missed well while they were studying these courses, right? How can we bring in those things, right? And most importantly, as you rightly said, Priya, about economics and knowledge of money, knowledge of everything else, right? One thing Kapili always says is that you need to also think about your self-interest, right?
Yes.
Kautilya does not say don't help others, don't help your neighbors or anything else, right? I mean, Kautilya essentially says also look at yourself, right? I think that's where we need to tell that each one of us have an obligation towards our family. We have an obligation to the locality where we live. We have an obligation to the nation where we are from, right? And how do you start stepping and doing more of each of these things and sequence them in your own lifetime and career, right? And this can essentially come by a greater understanding of economics, greater understanding of how do you build your own monetary value systems, how do you build your ethical systems, right? I mean, we have all been told, "Yakado, yeno aagta hai dariyalli, manel kutko," right? I mean, we have all been told at some point of time.
You have to explain this to the non-Kannadiga viewers also. What does that mean?
I mean, all of us have been told when we wanted to step out of our comfort zone and try and set right a public nuisance that was happening outside our home or outside our comfort zone. And all of us have been told, why do you need to shut up and sit at your home? And I think that's where we need to get larger ownership of our public space, right? And we need to say that it's our nation as well, right? We don't just have fundamental rights, we also have fundamental duties, right? And I think if we kind of get sensitization on all these aspects, I'm sure our future generation will make us much more prouder than what we have done to our previous generation.
Oh, yes. I think we will have to wrap up because it is already 1 hour, 16 minutes that we've been talking. The cool takeaways from this entire beautifully insightful talk is that all the students now have to start internalize their thinking. They have to get into the research platforms. They have to the government has to change a few policies to give more power to the institutions, and with the hope that we will soon have the Howards and the Takshilas and the Nalandas back in our country and produce the best that with the brains that we have, produce far better results than we are at present. So with this hope, with this smile, with this, we're coming to the end of a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful session. Thank you, Dr. Subramania. We missed you in between. Thank you, Sridhar sir. Thank you, Sudhir sir. Subramania sir, do you want to add something to this?
Finally, I'd like to inform that definitely this COVID has taught us a lot of lessons. And I am sure with the fire of changing the education policies, what has been said by the government, this will be definitely exponentially done, not on a linear scale in the future. And then hybrid learning will be the order of the day in the future, that the combination of online and face-to-face communication will be the order of the day. And only thing where we have to improve is we have to assess a student rather than examining a student. Is the talk which people talk about. I'm sure slowly it is coming in institution, it's going to happen. And there should be a lot of scope given for the innovation, and the research bent of mind has to be taught to the students. So final word is learn, unlearn, relearn is the one, either for the faculty or for the student, I would like to say. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, sir. Thank you. That was a perfect ending. All right. All right. Thank you so much. Have a lovely evening ahead.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.